So hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Talk About Watches Live. My name is Tim, and let's jump right into it. Tonight we've got a great lineup, 3 different segments. The first one will be the Stuhrling clock. Following that, we're going to delve into the new Benrus, and then we're going to wrap it up, last but not least, the 46mm Skywatch, and that's at 40% off, the best deal out there. Now, before we jump into all of that, let's go over a couple of things. For those of you who are new, welcome. Glad that you guys are along. We highly recommend that you join our email list. When you do, you're not going to get spam. You're safe with us. We don't like spam either. We're not going to do it. You're going to get basically an email a day. You'll get access to the deals of the day, plus any news from the watch industry, and of course, TAWs. We are currently under pretty significant expansion behind the scenes, and we can't wait to update you. So there's some great things in the works. Please join the email list for the updates. And also being on that list is going to give you access to our closed Facebook group. And it's that group that gets access to everything first. Deals of the day first, limited quantity. Sometimes they're the only people that get it. Plus you get to discuss amongst yourselves and post pictures and so on. And it's a great place to be. So once you're a member of the email list, you're going to see an invite on pretty much any of the emails you get. And just join that, and we'll let you in, and please enjoy the visit. We're glad to have you along. Now, another thing I want to discuss is additional social media. Obviously, we're on Facebook, and you may be watching us right now via Facebook Live and possibly YouTube Live. So, of course, those two venues are very applicable. But we also are on Instagram and Twitter and also Google+. So please join any or all of those, and we'll keep you updated as TAW continues to expand through your favorite venues. One final thing, and that is, as you are checking out, you may want to enjoy PayPal credit. We like this because it gives you 6 months of interest-free, but there's also nothing down and no payments at all for those 6 months. So it's a great way to look at the items and to make them extra affordable. And frankly, it's more accessible, it's more flexible than the traditional quote-unquote 6-pay program, because that's a rigid 6-pay idea. And if you want to do that, just divide your payments by, or rather the purchase by 6, and you're good to go. But what this will do is it lets you double down on a month or skip a month, and again, there's nothing down, so it's really an incredible flexible way. So on the last page of checkout, you're going to see a little checkbox, would you like PayPal credit? Click that, and once you qualify, you are good to go. It's really just that easy. So with that being stated, let's get underway. Welcome to the show, and first up tonight is the Stuhrling clock. Check it out. So now we're going to look at the Stuhrling clock, and here's the deal. We have sold so many of these that Stuhrling has gone back to the manufacturer and basically ramped up production. But here's the deal. If you want to own this at $69.99, which is easily the best deal out there, this is the last opportunity to do that, because Stuhrling is reacting, understandably, to the demand. And what they're going to do is they're going to be raising the price, and they're going to raise the price significantly. We're not talking about $5 or $10 here. The rumor is it's going to come out at $99.99. Now that's a rumor. I don't know, but I do know it will be substantially higher than $69.99. So basically, our existing quantity is the last opportunity, and frankly, the best deal out there. So please get those orders in. So without further ado, let's take a look at a recent presentation I did about the Stuhrling clock. And again, a reminder, this is the last opportunity to own it at the best deal on the planet. So check it out, and then we've got more right after that. Gets underway. The first thing we're going to talk about is the brand new Stuhrling. This is exclusive to TAW, by the way. And I'll tell you a little bit of the backstory. As you can see, this is easily the largest that Stuhrling has ever built. In fact, for those of you who love millimeters, and who doesn't, 349 millimeters across, which for practical terms translates to about 13¾ inches across at the widest point. It is, of course, a wall clock. And what I want to show you here in a quick minute or so I'm going to spend with this is that this is actually got some great watch guy appeal to it. You have, for example, a lot of you have anywhere from one box of watches to, in some cases, hundreds and hundreds of watches. How many of you guys have a really cool wall clock, right? Could be for the kitchen, for the living room, for the home theater, for the den, for wherever, right? For the man cave. Okay, check this one out. It's made almost entirely of high-impact plastic, and that's going to be an advantage, by the way, because this actually is fairly lightweight. But I say almost because it is supported throughout with these steel bars, and these bars go all the way around it, as you can see. And as you look at this with the various angles, and I'll try to do this where you can see it, this is an absolutely remarkable build, because the vast majority of these gears are operable. Now, there's a couple of stacks in there that are kind of decorative, but as this continues to move, and obviously I'm in real time here, so this is going to be kind of hard to see, but the majority of those gears do move. Here we go. You can see a little bit of what's going on there. That's cool. So the majority of these do move and is completely skeletonized. In fact, I'm surprised that more of you didn't comment about the skeletonized sides when we were doing the previews for this thing. So here's the deal. It's lightweight. In fact, let me show you how you put this on the wall. Right here, you're just going to put like an ordinary nail or screw or something like that into the wall. And because this is a lightweight build, you don't have to find a stud or anything like that. It's going to install pretty much anywhere that you want. So how do you power it? Well, that's what's clever about this. This is actually a quartz build, and the batteries go right here in this compartment. But as you'll notice with the sweep, which is why I was shooting the promos like I did to illustrate the sweep, not all electronic, shall we say, battery powered moves in these stutters. And this one has got that absolutely beautiful, smooth mechanical sweep. So check this out. This is part of what's really cool about it, and that is the price. Because, well, let's go to the close-ups as we get into this. This is going for only $69.99, shipping included. Now that makes this pretty much a must-own. And you're going to place this in the office, in the home, like I say, in the man cave, the den, wherever. You're a watch guy, you're a watch girl, and we just found the perfect clock for you. So check this out. We've got a few of them, and you guys can pick this up again, 13 3/4 inches across, or about 349 millimeters at just $69.99. So in this segment, we're going to take a look at Benrus. And let me set this up for you guys a little bit. For those of you who go back to, for example, the July 4th event, you know that for sheer velocity, the overwhelming hit was the Benrus 8.6, and it's an amazing deal, and frankly at this point I'm not even sure if there's any left, but there are. You guys should go get them. So we were able to locate another Benrus, and it's this one. Now this one is called the Infantry, and it's in 3/16 steel. One of the first things I want to start with is that this is a 42 millimeter case. However, because it's using the narrow bezel, as you can see as I'm wearing it, this actually plays larger. I also went ahead and did not buckle this, and the reason I went that far is I want you to see how generous the strap. Now, I wore almost exactly an 8, and I would say no more than a 9, and to be safe, maybe 8 3/4, but that should cover a lot of you guys in the audience for sure. Now, to get into this piece, one of the things I want to talk about is obviously we did some research, and I've got to tell you that this one was hard to find. We were able to locate a very few of these, and one of the reasons that this is hard to find is that our source on this literally went, without exaggeration, went to the vault and carried them out from the manufacturer. And the reason they were able to do that is that this is assembled in the United States. Now, not a lot of watches can make this claim, but Benrus does. Benrus is a company, for those of you who don't know, that's US-based. It's been around since 1921. And they have very proudly assembled selected pieces in the United States as recently as basically now, right? So here's the deal. They went over and they got them. Now, as I stated, we were doing some research on this, and first of all, finding the Infantry was nigh to impossible. So I did some comparisons, and I did find some watches that are in the same or similar family, and a lot of them have a tan dial. It's very plain, and so on and so forth. This dial is a beautiful dial, which you can't see in most shots, but I'll at least describe it to you, is that it's got a kind of a texture that will appear and then it disappears, and it's sort of irregular. The closest thing I could come up with really sort of a crude asphalt, but that makes it sound, well, crude, but it's really not. It is very sleek and very contemporary, even though this is predicated on original designs that would have been in an infantry or military inspired watch, say from, to look at it, I would say is 1940s, 1950s US military. Now, they carried over some of the color from the military influence. For example, this is loomed up, but you wouldn't know it at first glance because they're using this really cool and frankly much more expensive loom process. And it results in this tan, almost a sand color. So the hands are finished in that. And then the numerals, which in this case are the Arabic numerals, are also finished in that. Now, another thing that immediately makes this a standout is that this does have the color bars on the dial. Almost no other example I could find has that. So you've actually got the red, white, and blue, and it's presented along with the Benrus label and stars just below the 12. Now, much like they use that sand color in the hands and the Arabic numbers, you're going to see that the white on the bar is a little antique, but it's not really sand. It's like a weathered look. It's very cool. So you've got the red, white, and blue across the bars. And again, that ties back obviously to the fact that this is built, assembled, to be clear, in the United States. Now, as I stated, we were doing our research on this, and one of the things we found is that the pieces, and they were largely sold out, that are out there use a Japanese movement. Now, first of all, they were selling out, as in no longer available, in roughly the $200 range, 210, 200, 195, and so on. So one of the first things I want to point out is that this particular watch does not use the Japanese movement, and I'm not knocking Japanese movements. They're rock solid, and I wear them, and they're great and all that. But this one uses a Japanese, excuse me, not a Japanese. This one uses a quartz movement. Specifically, it's the it's the Swiss ISA 608. And so you've actually, for those of you, and understandably, you're a fan of the Swiss movements, clearly this piece is going to absolutely nail that, right? And that's a very good thing. Now, you've got, as I mentioned, the texture dial, the very cool lume, 42 millimeter case, all 316L steel, and it plays larger. But let's also talk about the back of the watch. The back of the watch, and I hope this is coming across in the shots, the back of the watch is a sculpted back, and it's pretty heavily sculpted, by the way. There's a clear 3D thing going on. So it's got this really cool 5-pointed star, and on the back, you're going to see that it lists the Swiss ISA as the movement and so on and so forth. So let's come back and talk about that. I mentioned earlier that the pieces in the research I was finding, a lot of them are listing the Japanese quartz movements. Again, rock solid movements, but I think we can all agree they don't have the cachet that the Swiss does, right? Okay, this has the Swiss, but it was the Japanese movement examples that were selling out roughly 210, 200, and so on. They were just gone. I did mention earlier that I found this example in a pretty rare instance. I don't recall it being available, but even if it is, I'll tell you right now, it was $179. So here's the thing. And I should probably be clear, just because they went to the vault doesn't mean that they got a ton of these. We have a relative few, but good news. This is going to blow out through TAW for just $49.95. Now, when I was comparing this, I tried to find manufacturer-suggested retail. Now, I did, for example, confirm that the bigger brother of this, the 8.6, listed for $395. Now, that one's a heavier build. It was 44 millimeter versus the 42 here. Both of them have mineral crystal. Both of them are 5 atmosphere water resistant, and both, frankly, look beautiful on. So I factored in that this one's a little smaller, it's a little less complex, even though the movement is in essence identical. So I'm estimating this at roughly around $295. And also keep in mind that with the Japanese movement examples, they were selling out, and I assume they're still sold out right now. And 200, 210, 190 thereabouts. Did find this one at $179 at $49.99 with shipping included. This piece is an absolute steal. One final thing I will mention is the leather strap. Oh, by the way, sign buckle and matching buckle. It's custom for Benrus, and the brushing here matches the brushing that's up on the case. So again, attention to detail, but keep in mind, this was never supposed to be available to the public for under 50 bucks. No way. The leather strap they chose is a weathered finish. Now keep in mind, this is modeled after literally World War II or the 1950s infantry sort of approach, though it is built on a bigger scale. So they went after the look of a weathered leather similar to, for example, like a bomber jacket, that sort of thing. And they've absolutely nailed it with this strap. It's a very dark chocolate brown. But here's the thing. It's really soft. There's going to be zero break-in period on this. You put this on first time, every time, it fits like it was custom made for you. This is a fantastic build, and I'm thrilled to be able to present it. So again, while they last, the Benrus, and to be very exact, this is the Benrus Infantry that has the charcoal color texture dial, and it has the sand colored lume and the color bars. And again, the best of my research, I can estimate this at roughly $295 full list, give or take. We do know that similar product with the Japanese movement was selling out around $200. We did locate this in one obscure location at $179 at $49.99. To say the least, this is absolutely blowing up. And to be clear, our source took these literally out of the vault. Remember, this was hand-assembled in the United States. So I emphasize that these are not pre-owned. They are actually shipping with a very full warranty. This is a steal. So please enjoy this, guys. The Benrus Infantry, courtesy of TAW. Check it out. Okay, so now let's take a look at Skywatch. Now, this is a brand that I've known for several years. In fact, over the course of the last few years, I've done a few television shows with the founder of Skywatch, Gabriel Ibarra. But I want to give you a bit of a history of the brand. Now, this actually goes back for a number of years to a brand some of you may well know called Oceanaut. And Gabriel was also a co-founder of Oceanaut. He built that up to a great success. And long story short, he basically spun off and created a solo project, which we now know as Skywatch. Now, for years, Skywatch has had the classic 44 millimeter size. And I think they've also done, I believe, a 38. And I've never really worked with that, but we have had the 44. And that's absolutely blown up. Not so much with TAW, but nationally and internationally. He's on several continents now, and some of the major watch retailers, the really famous one, like Tourneau would be an example, carries Skywatch. And again, they've had it in the original two sizes. And I assume they have this new size, but whether they do or not, we do. And the new size is the 46 millimeter. And that's been the #1 request. Everyone that's seen Skywatch absolutely loves it because the attitude is there. The design, as I'll get into in a second, is absolutely brilliant, as a matter of fact. But they say, can you do something larger? So Skywatch has reacted, and recently they released the 46 millimeter. And that's what we're doing tonight. But here's the thing. It's not going out at list, and almost always Skywatch gets a list for their products. This particular one, the 46 millimeter, is $595 list. For 72 hours from the moment we do this live, the broadcast actually first goes out, it'll be available for just $357. That is 40% off, and that we're going to be able to do for 72 hours. Now, after that, I believe we're still going to carry the watch, but it will be full boat. It'll be $595. Obviously, getting it at 40% off is a much better deal. And remember, we do offer, of course, PayPal credit, which will make this even more accessible. So, moving into it, let's talk a little bit about Skywatch. The attitude is beautiful because what it does is it takes the concept of casual, or what watch fans even call the beater watch. And for those of you who don't get that phrase, it's not derogatory. It means a watch that's really durable and you can wear it and it looks great and you don't have to worry about it a whole lot, and it's very cool. All right, so let's take that. And then we're going to build this using Swiss excellence. It's basically their premise. In fact, one of their slogans, as you may know, is the dive watch for dive bars, because you've got that California attitude. The design is incredible, and then it's built to these beautiful specifications. So very cool stuff across the board. Now, what Skywatch did is they actually went to one of the, well, for those of you who don't know, there's designers of watches. That's all they do. They don't work for a company. They're just these brains that create these amazing designs, and they get a lot of money for that. So Skywatch went to one of the highest paid ones in Switzerland and commissioned do what I was describing earlier, right? Do this West Coast American concept and then bring in your expertise in the Swiss excellence. And the result was the first Skywatch. And so there's no real surprise that this thing absolutely took off because, as you can see, it looks amazing. We're going to do 4 different colors for you tonight. So at this moment, I think I should probably hold them up. The one that I'm wearing is the one that's probably most synonymous with Skywatch, and it's called Poppy because of the poppy red. And as you can see, it's got the red and the black. And again, you can see 46 millimeter, substantially larger. It's also available in the blue. And again, everything about the cases on these are going to be exactly the same. Well, I shouldn't say exactly the same because 3 of them are done in the natural steel, blue being one. And then I'll show you one here in a moment that is done all in black. This one is called black white because it has, as you can see, all black, but then it has the white markers and so on, again with the brushed steel. But last but not least is the all black. Now, a lot of you are fans of carbon fiber. This actually has carbon fiber that has been sunk into the bezel itself. This is a very cool look. And you can check it out, obviously, with the pictures as we're bringing them in. And thank you, Sebastian, for that. It has a sky blue, I guess you can call it the sweep hand or the second hand for the chronograph function. All of these are Swiss quartz chronographs, by the way. And they're all extremely cool, but I have to mention that one that's all in black because I know a lot of you guys like that stealth mode, and also a lot of you like carbon fiber. And if that's what you really want in a wristwatch, absolutely the black is the way to go in this instance. So let's delve into the watch. It's got, as I stated, the attitude, the design is absolutely there. But technical aspects, this is key as well. 200-meter water resistant, which for those of you who don't know, means that this Skywatch is built to the point where you can literally scuba dive with it if you want. I'm not saying it's a dive watch in the sense of it has a depthometer, because it doesn't, and I'm a scuba diver myself, so to me, A real dive watch should have a depthometer, but it can survive a scuba dive, 200-meter water resistant. So very durable, very cool. Rotating bezel, again, definitely kin to a dive watch. And that means you've got the unidirectional bezel. The reason, by the way, if you don't know, it only rotates counterclockwise, is that the original concept of a unidirectional bezel was to mark the amount of time you plan being underwater. And if it were to be accidentally moved, the only way it can move is to reduce that time, because to go the other way is potentially lethal. So that's where the unidirectional bezel comes from, and this has that. Chronograph, I mentioned. These are all Swiss chronograph movements, so very durable, very accurate. Plus, it has, of course, the prestige of Swiss. As I stated earlier, it's a concept of let's take the West Coast, the American influence, if you will, and the casual attitude, but combine it with Swiss excellence, and this does it very well. This has super luminova. For those of you who don't know, that's some of the finest luminous material in the world, and it's also hugely expensive. And depending on the model, you're going to find super luminova that's been sunk into the bezel and also the hands and the markers. Now, on most of these, I think you are going to find it in the bezel and hands and markers. The one exception is going to be the black, where I don't think that's actually got the traditional lume. I believe they're using the dark gray lume, which is actually even more expensive, by the way. You should also know that gray does not glow as much as the one that shows up white in daylight. So just be aware of that. So it does have the lume, just not quite as aggressive. Sapphire crystal. That's not necessarily true of all the Skywatches. They have done mineral on occasion, but these have custom domed anti-glare treated sapphire crystal. So for those of you who want that great durable watch that also has the prestige of sapphire, this absolutely delivers on that front, I guess we could say. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the strap. Now, the one thing that Skywatch did very early on, and it makes sense, is that they started to create an absolute Skywatch look. And one of the things they did was to create the strap. Now, let's just take a look, for example, at the one that I'm wearing, but it'll be true of all of them. For example, I'll just grab the black one here. You can see that it has the same thing going on. The same style of strap, and then it has the signature sky blue keepers. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that this is not just another leather strap. Now, it is true that the interior is a very soft padded leather, and I own several Skywatches, so I can tell you that there's no break-in period. You just put them on and you go, and it's great. But the exterior of this is actually done in an Italian sailcloth that has been dyed to be a jet black. So you've actually got a subtle sheen from the sailcloth, and again, this is real Italian sailcloth over the top of the very fine leather, and there's some padding in there as well. Size-wise, I would say up to maybe 8 3/4. I wouldn't go as far as a 9. I wear almost exactly an 8, so you can see pretty much how much is remaining there. By the way, that super luminova, I just looked down, it's already glowing even here with the studio lighting. You're going to be very happy with that. And again, a TAW exclusive, you're getting in on the new 46 millimeter, the largest Skywatch, your choice of the 4 different options, which are, again, you can get it in what's called the black with the white because of the white accents. You can also get this in the blue with the sky blue, obviously, in the resin bezel. You can get it in the poppy. This is the signature watch, by the way, if you want to go with the one that really made Skywatch famous. And last but not least, the all black option. And this has the case, they're all brushed, of course, and it's all 316 now still, but this one is done in that beautiful, subtle black finish. You can't even really call it subtle. It's very stealthy, and it's the only model that has the carbon fiber inset into it. 40% off. These list for $595, and in most retail outlets, Skywatch gets the list. We have it at 40% off for the next 72 hours only, and this starts from the time that this show first aired. So if you're watching this in rerun mode, obviously you've got a bit less time, but it's just $357. If you're ordering this through TAW, we are direct with Skywatch. You're getting full warranty, full original packaging, which is beautiful, by the way. The packaging they do is phenomenal. So the presentation is excellent. So that's what's going on with Skywatch, so please enjoy your new watches. Again, what we looked at tonight was, of course, the Stuhrling clock, followed by the brand new Benrus, and we just wrapped up with the new 46 millimeter Skywatch presentation. My name is Tim. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We've got a lot more stuff in the works, so check out our post on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on because we are about to make several key announcements. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back really soon for another edition of Talk About Watches Live. Be well, everybody.